Mr. Shapiro, you talked about white privilege, and just this week, I had a conversation with Rachel Lazar, who's done some work, a Jewish American woman who's done some work on this area, as well as having extensive conversations with Dr. Greg Parks of Wake Forest University, who's also talked quite a bit about critical race theory. And it's my understanding that white privilege is not telling individuals that they cannot speak, but it is a term for societal privilege that individuals have as a benefit of their white skin. And I don't think that, and I think universities would be remiss to then say that because you're white, you're not allowed to say anything that's critical of white people. I didn't know that white privilege actually went into that sphere. My understanding is it's just, and the issue is that white privilege makes people uncomfortable to talk about the societal privilege that they have.
All right, folks, buckle up, because this right here is a perfect example of how the radical left uses fancy academic buzzwords to shut down debate, and how Ben Shapiro absolutely demolishes it in real time. This exchange is about so-called white privilege, and what starts as a calm question quickly turns into a full-blown ideological clash. And spoiler alert, facts win, feelings lose.
Well, to me, what I say on campuses all the time is if you want to cite instances of racism that we can all find and fight together, that's something that I'm more than willing to stand next to you and fight, because that's obviously stuff that we should fight together. But when you just say that there is a white privilege out there in the ether and that by dint of birth your skin color generates for you an advantage, what you're really saying to people is that your view is less valuable because you have not experienced what I've experienced. And that is an identity argument, that's a character argument, that's not a rational political argument that can actually be taken on in any way. It's more of a cudgel and a club than it is an attempt to open a discussion.
Well, I think it's a demonstrable evidence that through society's demographics that being white has societal privileges that being black does not. But
we can talk about how that manifests, because that's
I'm also interested in what you just said now, is that you would stand next to anyone who has this. So, Mr. Shapiro, my question to you is, for Ms. Dunston, the tying the noose around the campus and writing messages that target African-American young students, would you consider that hate speech, and then would you stand next to her and fight for her?
As I say, I would. This is the first I'm hearing about it, honestly. But
really,
yeah. But from hearing about it, maybe because it's local. I mean, I'm from LA. But in any case, I'm more than happy to stand alongside her and fight whatever group was responsible for this. Not only more than happy. I mean, you're talking about the alt-right. Again, I was the #1 target of anti-Semitic harassment from the alt-right last year. So I'm more than happy to do all that. And I think there's one more distinction that has to be made. When we talk about cases like Taylor's, they're horrific, and the administration is siding with Taylor. Okay, the administration is doing the right thing by Taylor, or trying to do the right thing by Taylor, as they should be. And I think that we need to make a distinction between cases where the administration is actively participating in the suppression of speech and cases in which the administration is trying to do the right thing in order to punish people for application of crime.
Now listen carefully to what's happening. The left's argument is always the same. White privilege doesn't silence you, it just explains society. Sounds harmless, right? Wrong. Because the moment Ben Shapiro pushes back, he exposes the real goal here. Shapiro says something incredibly reasonable. If you want to point out real, provable racism, I'll stand next to you and fight it. And he's right. Any decent American should. But then he draws the line, and this is where he destroys the argument. He says when you claim that someone's ideas are less valid because of their skin color, that's not justice. That's not equality. That's identity politics. And it's poison. And he nails it when he says this isn't a rational political argument. It's a club, a cudgel, a way to shut people up without debating them. That's the left's playbook. Can't win the argument? Attack the identity. Then comes the emotional pivot, bringing up a horrific racist incident involving a noose on campus. And watch this carefully. Ben Shapiro doesn't dodge. He doesn't deflect. He doesn't minimize. He says clearly, I'll stand with her. I'll fight whoever did that. That completely shatters the left-wing narrative that conservatives don't care about racism. We do care. We just refuse to play the guilt by birth game. Here's the truth they don't want you to hear. America is not perfect, but it is not defined by original sin based on skin color. You don't fix racism by telling people their voice matters less because of how they were born. You don't build unity by dividing everyone into racial boxes. And you sure as hell don't protect free speech by policing who's allowed to speak. Ben Shapiro didn't just win this debate, he exposed the entire scam. Facts over feelings, individual responsibility over victimhood, and freedom over ideological bullying. If you're tired of the lies, tired of the race baiting, and tired of watching common sense get shouted down, hit that like button right now. Subscribe if you want more unfiltered truth, real debate, and fearless takes the mainstream media won't give you. And share this video, because the facts don't spread themselves. This channel stands for free speech, accountability, and America first. See you in the next one.